All men should watch this video. This is how women fall in love. Stoicism. Modern Stoic. Love is not something you look for, uppavast. Love is something you become. Alina Villasante. Many men have little understanding of how women truly fall in love. They assume it's all about giving flowers, taking her to fancy dinners, or saying the right words at the perfect moment. But the truth is far different. Love doesn't begin when she feels safe. It begins when she feels something beyond her control. It's not about logic or timing. It's about energy. When a woman meets a man who doesn't chase after her, who doesn't feel the need to explain himself or overdo it to impress, that's when something shifts. A man who stays true to himself, who brings silence rather than excuses and presence instead of pressure. This is when she begins to fall in love, often without even understanding why. Once you understand the deeper psychological and emotional dynamics at play, you won't just attract women. You'll change how they perceive you entirely. This isn't about using tricks. This is about embracing truth. If you're done with guessing and want to discover what truly makes a woman fall for you, stick around. And while you're at it, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because this content isn't for men who play it safe. It's for those who are becoming untouchable. Now, let's break down exactly how women fall in love. Number 1. She falls for the man who doesn't need her. Sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? Most men are conditioned to be the nice guy, to always be there, to respond quickly, to make her feel like she's the center of his universe. But they wonder why she starts pulling away. Let me set this straight. A woman doesn't fall in love with a man who puts her on a pedestal. She falls for the man who is already complete, the man with purpose, the man who is building something bigger than himself, the man who doesn't chase after her because he's too busy pursuing his own mission. This doesn't mean being distant or cold. It means you are selective, discerning, and centered. Here's what most men fail to understand: when you don't need her, you become exactly the man she wants. Neediness repels, but independence attracts. She may say she wants attention, validation, reassurance, and yes, to some extent she does, but on a deeper level, what she craves is to feel your gravity. She wants to be pulled into your orbit, not because you need her, but because you're already moving forward, with or without her. Let's be honest. Who is more attractive? The man who constantly asks, "Do you like me?" or the one who barely says a word but walks with quiet confidence as though he is already whole? Women don't want to complete you. They want to join a man who is already complete. That's why the guy who's always chasing, always checking in, always seeking approval gets left on read. But the man who is calm, grounded, slightly detached, that's the one she thinks about when she's lying in bed at night, because there's something about him she hasn't figured out yet. And that's the spark of obsession. In psychology, this concept is tied to status and perceived value. Humans instinctively desire what appears to be high value and hard to attain. If you're always available, always eager, always accommodating, it signals scarcity, not strength. But when you're grounded in your purpose, when your focus is on your goals, your discipline, your peace, it communicates value. More importantly, it invites curiosity. She'll start wondering, what's he thinking about? Why doesn't he chase me like other guys? What's going on in his life that he's not constantly texting me? That's when she leans in. That's when she starts investing in you. And this is exactly what modern Stoic philosophy teaches us: to master ourselves, not others. To remain steady in the face of praise or silence. Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free, And nothing is braver or freer than a man who doesn't fear losing a woman because he's already chosen to never lose himself. When you make her the center of your world, you become small. But when your universe is vast, full of mission, challenge, and meaning, she wants to orbit that world. That's when she becomes emotionally invested in you. Let me give you a practical example. Picture two men. Man A meets a woman he likes. He clears his schedule, cancels his gym routine, stops hanging out with his friends. He responds to her messages immediately, gives lengthy explanations, and constantly asks if she's happy. Then there's man B, who also meets a woman he likes, but he keeps his priorities intact. He doesn't drop everything for her. He gives her space. He lets her wonder where he stands. Now, guess which man triggers her emotions? The second one, every time, because love isn't about availability, it's about energy, it's about polarity. Masculine stillness draws in feminine movement, and that's the blessing of Stoicism. When you embody the essence of the modern Stoic, you live with the unwavering certainty that you are already enough, and that certainty becomes the magnetic force she can't resist. You become a man who doesn't chase, but attracts. And let me tell you this, that is the key to making her fall for you. So, don't chase her. Chase your purpose. Be the man who is grounded in his own value. Be the man who doesn't need validation from anyone, not even from her, and watch how the dynamics shift. That's the power of the old Stoic philosophy and the key to a relationship built on respect, not need. Number 2, emotional tension pulls her in. Love doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in emotional tension, the kind that keeps her guessing and coming back for more. Too many guys rush into comfort by oversharing and constantly proving themselves. But here's the truth. When she knows exactly how you feel, she stops caring. Predictability kills attraction, but when there's tension, when she doesn't know what's coming next, that's when desire spikes. We're not talking manipulation, but polarity. It's about that masculine stillness and emotional self-control. She's drawn to you, not because you're withholding, but because you're not needy. That space between what she feels and what she can't define, that's where attraction thrives. Most relationships lose their fire because the mystery fades. You overshare, confess too much, and rush things. Now it's flat. There's no tension. Think of it like a guitar string, but if it's too loose, it doesn't sound. If it's too tight, it snaps. But when it's just right, it sings. Emotional tension works the same way. It's the right balance of uncertainty that keeps the spark alive. This ties into something called intermittent reinforcement. Unpredictable affection makes it more meaningful. Always texting first or checking in makes you predictable, and predictability kills attraction. Instead, create space. Don't rush to fix things. If she pulls back, don't chase. If she challenges you, hold your ground. Stoicism teaches us emotional control. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Stay centered. Don't spill your emotions and she'll feel that strength. It's that discipline that turns her on. I've seen it work. A guy I coached started seeing a woman, but after a few good dates, she went cold. He panicked, texting long emotional messages. It pushed her away. I told him to pull back. 2 days later, she texted him, wondering what he was thinking. The tension returned, and so did she. You don't need to be cold, just stable. Choose when to reveal. Let the moment unfold. Emotional tension makes her lean in. If you find today's content useful to you, don't forget to share your feelings and lessons with us, or simply comment "very cool." It's a great encouragement for our channel makers. Thank you very much. Number 3. Mystery triggers obsession. Let me tell you something crucial if you want to attract and keep a woman's attention. Mystery is the weapon you must wield with mastery. Too many men make the mistake of overexposing themselves too early. They spill their entire life story on the first date, thinking that being an open book will win her over. But this approach isn't just flawed, it's fatal. Think about it. Would you rather watch a movie with zero suspense, where you know every twist before it happens, or one where the tension builds, leaving you on the edge of your seat, eager to know what happens next? Women are no different. If you let her know everything about you too soon, you take away the tension, the curiosity, the thrill. That's not how you build attraction. Instead, you must learn the art of reserve and restraint. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. When you choose to hold back, to be composed and mysterious, you are actively shaping your path to her heart. The trick is not to manipulate her, but to master yourself. When you let her see just enough of you to spark interest but leave much of you unrevealed, you turn the tables. She'll become obsessed with figuring you out. It's not about you, it's about her experience of you, the enigma you become in her mind. Psychology backs this up with something called the Zeigarnik effect. It's simple: people remember unfinished business more than completed tasks. When you leave emotional gaps, her mind fills in those blanks. Does he like me? Why hasn't he opened up yet? Why do I feel so drawn to him? This tension becomes an emotional investment. You've got to let her wonder, but not by playing games, by being a man who chooses when and how much to reveal. Think about Stoic philosophy. Epictetus said, "Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Embody. You don't need to talk endlessly about how deep or sensitive you are. Your actions, your presence, your energy should speak volumes without you saying a word." This is the essence of Stoicism: self-control, inner strength, and emotional mastery. By not oversharing, you demonstrate that you are a man in control of his emotions, his life, and his narrative. A woman doesn't fall for you because you've let her in too soon. She falls for you because you've left her with enough to wonder. You see, obsession isn't created when she has you. It's created when she can't quite reach you. The moment she feels like she knows everything about you, her interest fades. You've become too familiar, too predictable. But if you're selective, if you create space for her to wonder and seek understanding, you'll have her coming back for more. Let me give you a real-world example. I worked with a guy who made a fatal mistake on every date. He overshared his childhood, his past, his goals, his fears. He thought he was being emotionally open, but what he was really doing was killing any chance of keeping her intrigued. We turned that around. He started being more reserved. He asked more questions than he answered. He let silences hang in the air instead of filling them with needless chatter. He didn't rush to explain himself. And the results? His next date texted him later that night, "I don't know why, but I can't stop thinking about you." That's the power of mystery. So that's how you build the spark that leads to obsession. So here's your game plan. Speak with intention, not excess. Give her enough to be intrigued, but don't overwhelm her with too much. Ask good questions and let her talk. Hold eye contact, but don't rush to fill every pause with words. Your energy should speak louder than your story. Let your vibe be felt, not explained. It's not about being fake. It's about being secure in your identity, private and selective. And women crave depth, but they also crave the chase, the pursuit of understanding a man who is not easily understood. Nothing is more magnetic than a man who makes her feel like there's more under the surface, but doesn't just hand it all over on a silver platter. Remember, mystery triggers obsession. If you want her to keep coming back, stop over-explaining and start mastering the art of emotional reserve. Be the man who keeps her guessing. And when you do this, you will witness her curiosity turn into an obsession. You must choose to be the man who embodies Stoic principles. Calm, composed, and in control. When you do, you will dominate her thoughts. Don't fall into the trap of oversharing. Number 4, masculine calm breaks her walls. Here's something most men don't realize: it's not your words that get her to open up. It's your calm presence. Women are emotional creatures, and that's not a criticism. It's biology. Their emotions can swing wildly, but at their core, they're searching for safety. Not the type you can solve with money or empty reassurances, but an energetic safety. A presence that says, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm not shaken by your storm." Most men meet her chaos with more chaos. She gets emotional, and he gets defensive. She tests him, and he snaps. She pulls back, and he panics. Her walls go up. But when you stay calm, when your voice is steady, your eyes soft yet focused, that's when she melts. In your calm, she feels contained, safe to express herself. You don't suppress her feelings. You hold space for them. And that's where trust grows, not from promises, but from your presence. This is where modern Stoicism is key. Stoic men aren't emotionless. They're emotionally disciplined. They don't let their feelings control them. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." It's not what she says or does, it's how you interpret it. While most men argue and react to her emotional swings, the Stoic man stays composed when he doesn't need to prove anything. He listens, he breathes, and when he speaks, it's measured and calm. That's what breaks her walls. She's been around men who are either too soft or too aggressive. But when she meets a man who can handle her intensity and stay grounded, she feels truly seen. One woman I spoke to once said about the man she fell in love with, "It wasn't what he said. It was that I could fall apart in front of him, and he didn't flinch." That's the power of calm. So, how do you develop this calm? Control your breath, and slow, deep breathing signals safety to both you and her. Relax your shoulders, jaw, and lower your voice. These small actions create an atmosphere of trust. Stop interrupting silence too. Silence gives her space to think, to feel. And lastly, let go of the need to always be right. The man who doesn't need to win every argument is the man who earns her respect. Have you ever felt the shift when you stayed calm instead of reacting? Drop a comment if you've experienced it. And don't miss what's next. How space, not attention, makes her chase you. Number 5, she bonds through earned intimacy. Let's get this straight. Women don't bond through physical closeness. They bond through emotional respect. And that respect isn't handed out freely. It's earned. Many men confuse access with connection. Just because she opens up physically doesn't mean she's emotionally connected. True intimacy takes time. The faster you give it, the less valuable it becomes. We live in a world of oversharing, but real intimacy happens in private, built over time. Women want a man who values his emotional world and doesn't just pour it out for anyone who listens. The key is to be slow but intentional with your openness. Show her layers over time. This taps into the investment bias. People value what they work for. When intimacy is earned, it carries weight, meaning, and permanence. Here's where most men mess up. They think vulnerability means oversharing or constantly explaining themselves. But true vulnerability isn't about dumping your pain. It's about revealing parts of yourself when the timing is right and when trust has been built. Think of your life as a kingdom. Most men throw open the gates, but a Stoic man guards his emotional world with value. He only lets the right people in, and when he does, it means something. Stoicism teaches temperance, knowing when to open up and when to hold back. Apply this by slowing down. When she asks about your past, give her enough to be real, but not everything at once. Don't rush closeness, let it develop naturally. When she feels like she's earned access to your inner world, that's when true intimacy happens. That's when she says, "I feel safe with you." If you've experienced the power of earned connection, drop a comment below. I felt that shift. And stick around. We're up next with how space, not attention, makes her chase. Number 6, confidence without validation makes her chase. Confidence without validation is the secret that makes her chase. Here's a fact that men often overlook: if your confidence is tied to needing approval, it's not real. Women can sense that desperation instantly. Real confidence is quiet, rooted in self-assurance, and doesn't rely on external validation. It's a certainty about who you are that doesn't need to be broadcasted. The man who is confident without the need to prove anything stands out. He doesn't seek validation from her or anyone else. He respects her but doesn't pedestal her. Women are accustomed to men who perform, giving constant compliments, attention, and validation, trying to impress, trying to be chosen. But when a man doesn't need her approval, when he exudes calm and control, he flips the dynamic. Now she's the one wondering what's going on in his mind. Why isn't he trying harder? Why is he so composed? That tension, that uncertainty creates a pull. She begins to chase. But here's the truth. This energy can't be faked. You can't pretend not to care while obsessing behind the scenes. It's a subtle game, and she'll feel the difference if you're acting. Genuine confidence comes from a place of fullness, not emptiness. When you believe in your worth, with or without her attention, that's when you truly embody Stoicism. A Stoic man is rooted in self-command. He doesn't seek applause or approval. Marcus Aurelius captured it perfectly. It is in your power to retire into yourself whenever you choose. That's the Stoic mindset, grounded, unwavering, indifferent to external validation. When you embrace this, your presence becomes magnetic. Your energy is rare, unpredictable. Women are used to men who lose themselves trying to win her attention, but when you meet her beauty with calm, without worship, she feels seen, not suffocated. Take this example. One of my clients was stuck in a pattern of over-validating his partners, complimenting them daily, always available, always trying to impress. It worked at first, but within weeks, they lost interest. Then we changed his approach. He stopped over-complimenting and started giving space. He let silence be a part of their interaction. He stopped offering validation unless it came from a place of presence, not need. Suddenly, women began chasing him. His attention became precious because it was rare and real. Confidence without validation isn't about being cold or distant. It's about being centered. It's about showing up fully but not shrinking to gain approval. A Stoic man knows his worth. He doesn't need to chase. He doesn't perform. He is at peace with who he is. That is the essence of confidence, and that is what makes you irresistible. Women don't fall for what you say, they fall for how you make them feel. When she feels she must earn your attention, she will value it more. So remember, this confidence doesn't chase, it attracts. Number 7, presence over performance. In a world flooded with men trying to impress, the one who simply shows up and is fully present stands out. This is the blessing of Stoicism. Let's be honest, most guys slip into performance mode around women. They crack jokes relentlessly, boast about their achievements, and act like they're reading off a highlight reel, thinking that's what women want. But here's the truth: women don't fall in love with a man who performs the best. They fall in love with the man who makes them feel seen, understood, and valued. And that only happens when you're fully present, when you're trying to impress. Your attention is inward. You're wondering, did she laugh? Is she impressed? Am I boring her? But when you're present, all that fades. Your attention is on her, not on yourself. You're not calculating or analyzing. You're grounded, calm, and engaged. She feels the difference. She feels the peace of a man who's not trying to entertain her, but simply being with her. This doesn't mean being passive. It means being engaged in the moment, steady and calm, without needing her to react. In that space, time slows down, walls come down, and she can finally relax. Psychologically speaking, presence builds trust. When someone feels that you're not distracted, not planning your next move, and not playing a role, they feel safe and connected. The old Stoic philosophers knew this well. As Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." A modern Stoic man doesn't need approval. He doesn't perform for anyone. He simply is. He embodies calm focus. He doesn't rush to fill silence because he knows there's power in stillness. And that's where it gets exciting. When you stop performing, you become unpredictable in the best way. Women are used to men trying to win them over, say the perfect thing, or be someone they're not. But when she's with a man who's just himself, unapologetically, it's magnetic, it's rare, it's grounded, and it's deeply attractive. I worked with a client once who thought humor was his strongest asset. He couldn't stop cracking jokes on dates. He was funny, no doubt, but women didn't stick around. He was using humor as a shield, afraid of silence, afraid of being boring, afraid of showing his true self. We worked on slowing down, listening deeply, and just being there without performing. The next time he went on a date, the woman leaned in and said, "You make me feel calm." That's the magic, because when she feels calm, unhurried, and safe around you, that's when true attraction begins. So, how do you build presence? Start by mastering stillness. Breathe deeper. Speak slower. Let silence sit without rushing to fill it. Look her in the eyes, not to dominate, but to connect. Speak with intention. Stop saying things just to fill the space. Say things that carry weight. Drop the need to impress. Replace it with the desire to connect. You're not there to win her over. You're there to experience the moment with her. Not above her, not beneath her, but with her. In that space, she gets curious. She leans in. She's meeting the real you, and that's the guy she remembers. So, embrace your inner Stoic. Drop the performance. Presence wins. If you found this valuable, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember I am present, grounded, and magnetic. This statement embodies the essence of what it means to attract someone authentically, simply by being present and grounded in the moment. Drop a comment to let us know that you are embracing this mindset in your life today. Number 8. Silence is more powerful than persuasion. Let's be honest, too many men talk too much, especially when they feel they're losing a woman. They over-explain, they chase with words they don't. They try to convince. And in doing so, they lose the one thing that could save them: silence. Here's the truth: the more you try to persuade, the less control you appear to have. When she pulls back and you rush to ask why, or send paragraph texts, you're signaling, "I need this more than you do." And nothing kills attraction faster. But silence, it's powerful. It says, "I respect myself too much to beg for attention. If you need time, take it. I'm good either way." Silence creates space, builds tension, and forces her to reflect. From a Stoic perspective, this is emotional discipline, choosing your response, not reacting in fear. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best answer to anger is silence." Sometimes the best answer to confusion or distance is also silence. Imagine she pulls away. Most men panic and chase. But if you stay silent, grounded, and unbothered, it forces her to reflect. She starts asking, "Did I just push away a man who respects himself?" Now she's the one questioning. Silence isn't stonewalling, it's restraint. It shows her the value of your presence. The Stoic man knows that if it's real, it won't need convincing. If she values him, his silence speaks volumes. So, don't fill space with desperate words. Hold your peace, because the men she remembers are the ones who never had to explain their worth. Stoicism teaches us the power of emotional discipline. Live the Stoic life, and let silence be your strength. Number 9. Standards trigger desire. Let's get this straight: you need to raise your standards. Too many men claim to have them, but the moment they meet a woman they like, they bend, they tolerate disrespect, they make compromises, they accept behavior they would never stand for from anyone else. Women notice that, and when they do, the attraction fades. Understand this. Your standards are the backbone of who you are. They tell the world whether you respect yourself, whether you have a strong sense of leadership and judgment, whether you're a man she can trust. Women are drawn to men who maintain clear standards, not out of arrogance, but because those standards reflect integrity and self-respect. This is where Stoicism comes in. A Stoic man doesn't react to every impulse or emotion. He understands what truly matters. As Marcus Aurelius put it, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. You don't need to chase approval. You need to live by principles." A man who stands firm in his standards, who says, "No, this doesn't work for me," even when it costs him the relationship, is unforgettable. This isn't about being rigid. It's about being clear, being strong, and being unshakable. When you don't tolerate flaky behavior, when you set boundaries against disrespect, when you don't let attraction cloud your judgment, you set yourself apart. You create a rare dynamic that builds attraction, because women are drawn to men who respect themselves. They want to earn your respect, to prove they belong in your life, not because of desperation, but because they respect your clarity and leadership. Standards build that magnetic tension, that polarity. It's not about being the perfect guy. It's about being a man who knows what he stands for. So stop bending, stop compromising, stand firm. Where have you been too lenient? Where have you let fear of loss make you accept less than you deserve? Stop explaining, stop arguing, stop fixing. Just stand firm in your value. Let her decide if she wants to meet you at your level. That's the kind of energy women can't forget. Your standards. They change everything. When you truly embrace your value and live by Stoic principles, you command respect, and desire follows naturally. If you found this valuable, like, comment below, and share it with someone who could benefit. Don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom. Comment to remember, I stand firm in my value and set high standards. Stand strong, live by your principles, and let your actions speak louder than your words. Let us know in the comments how setting boundaries has transformed your relationships. Number 10, she falls hardest for the man who can walk away. Here's an essential truth you need to understand. Women fall hardest for the man who knows when to walk away. Sounds backwards, doesn't it? But that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Most men make the fatal mistake of thinking that giving more, being more available, more invested, more clingy, is the way to win a woman's heart. They overcommit, they overexplain, they overinvest. They fall so deep that their happiness starts to depend on her choosing them. And once she senses that, it's over. The tension, the mystery, the attraction, they all vanish. The power dynamic shifts, and not in your favor. But the man who can walk away, who values himself enough to leave when things don't feel right, is the one she can't forget. His attention is earned, never assumed. His presence is a blessing, not a guarantee. You see, this isn't about playing mind games. It's about understanding your own worth so deeply that no relationship, no matter how tempting, can shake your core. This is the blessing of Stoicism. The ability to remain centered in yourself, no matter the circumstances. When you carry this kind of energy, everything changes. Women start to self-reflect. They pay attention to their own actions because they know that if they cross your boundaries, if they disrespect your truth, if they stop showing up fully, you'll walk away. Not dramatically, not to punish, but with quiet certainty. You'll leave because your peace is non-negotiable. Your approval isn't something to be earned at the expense of your own dignity. This is where the old Stoic wisdom comes into play. A true Stoic man doesn't cling, doesn't beg, doesn't chase. He's rooted in his principles. He knows when it's time to let go, whether it's a relationship, a job, or any situation that threatens his inner peace. A Stoic man walks away not out of pride or ego, but because it's out of alignment with his truth. Seneca wisely said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Craving approval, love, or attention so desperately that you lose yourself in the process. That's what poverty of spirit looks like. A man who can walk away is rich in self-worth. He's wealthy in inner peace. He's unshakable. And ironically, that's exactly what makes a woman fall harder for him. Why? Because he's not replaceable. He's not one of those guys who sticks around no matter how she behaves. He's got options. He's got clarity. He's got strength. And none of that can be manipulated, controlled, or predicted. In that space of healthy detachment, something extraordinary happens. She starts to earn him, not because he demands it, but because his presence requires it. He's the rare man who doesn't fold. He stands tall, quietly saying, "I'm not here to convince you. I'm here to connect. But if that's not what you want, I'll walk away with my dignity intact." And when you show her that, when you show her that you can walk away, not out of coldness, but out of clarity, that's when she sees you in a different light. That's when she trusts you. Because if you can walk away from her, you won't abandon yourself. And that's what makes her fall hardest. Not your charm, not your looks, not even your attention. It's your freedom. Freedom means you're there by choice, not out of fear, not out of need. You chose her, not because you don't have options, but because you value yourself enough to make that choice. That is the essence of modern Stoicism, and there's nothing more powerful than that. And that's the secret. Hey, I really appreciate you sticking with me through this entire video. If you've made it this far, you're not like most men. You're the kind of man who thinks deeper, who chooses clarity over chaos, who doesn't just want a relationship. You want self-mastery, respect, and something real. And that's exactly what we're building here. If you're serious about leveling up, this is the place to be. Thank you for your time, focus, and discipline to sit through all 10 parts. I know it wasn't easy, but you did it, and that says a lot about your character. Here's a thought to leave you with. Remember, she doesn't fall for the loudest man in the room. She falls for the man who lives by his standards, who holds the silence, and who chooses himself first. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.